Morning traders, it's Wednesday and it's the 7th of July 2021. So we have FOMC meeting minutes a little bit later on. That's at 7 p.m. UK time. We had some decent moves yesterday actually. Decent moves during the Asian session and then quickly reversed when we got into the latter afternoon of the New York session. I'm expecting today to be a little bit quiet and the anticipation of what's going to be said later on, and then we may see some movements in the market with FOMC meeting minutes. So just want to spend today's update just breaking down the dollar index and what potentially could happen. Okay, so this is the weekly chart of the dollar index. You can see that here since March 2020, it's been bearish. Okay, sellers have been in charge of the market. Then, right about the end of December 2020, we formed a low here, and also May 21, we came into that same zone. Let me just draw it out for you, just so you can see what I'm looking at. We've got the same zone where the market's found a bottom. Okay, now the question is that the bottom of this move, and we're going to start to reverse and start to see higher highs and higher lows, i.e. an uptrend, or are we consolidating, or are we consolidating and then a reversal, or consolidating, or a move down? So I can see a couple of things here. I can see this trend line coming down here, this trend line resistance. I can also see connecting this low and these lows, there's a bit of support there. So there's a couple of things. In fact, I'm just going to readjust that and just connect these lows here. Okay, this to me can be a couple of things happening. This is what I'm looking at. A double bottom pattern. Okay, so price has found a bottom here at this zone, round about the big number, look, 90. And this is what's called a neckline. Okay, basically it's resistance. And we could, we've pushed down, found the neckline, pushed down into the same zone, just about double bottom, and we potentially could break out. Let's draw that again because it's just disappeared. And if we break out, then we'll look for a correction, and we can look for long on USD. Okay, that's option one. Option two is this could actually be a corrective pattern, a triangular correction pattern after an impulse, and we could actually see something like, let's just draw it again. Okay, and we could actually see price reverse from that zone and then potentially come here and bounce again, or literally break out for another impulse down. Of course, we're never going to know ahead of time what the market plan is or what's going to happen. But there's two trains of thought for myself. Now, the point where price is at the moment is a very interesting place, because this is obviously resistance. We are at a point here where price has reversed twice before, and we could see price breakout, we could see that move down. Let's have a little look at the daily. Okay, that's just the same price action, but in a little bit more detail. Okay, some of you use EMAs, I know, so EMAs, we can draw them in. You can see those EMAs on the daily there are bullish, meaning they are in the direction for an uptrend, which is correct. That's what we're doing here. But I wanted to point something out to you on the 4-hour time frame. and that is we've got a little bit of what's called MACD divergence. So where price is, you know, pushing upwards there, we've got price making lower highs basically. Now we haven't broken this high yet, so I can't really say we've had a high, higher high, and higher high, low, high, lower high, and lower high. We haven't broken that high yet, but the MACD is potentially telling us that this upwards momentum is running out of steam. Okay, that's what it's telling me. Now, it's not 100%. It doesn't mean that we're going to start to see a reversal. Okay, but if I was trading dollar long, for instance, I would take note of that and maybe even come out of my long trades, maybe take profit, etc., etc., under the anticipation that this could reverse. So we have the FOMC meeting minutes later. We are at resistance. We have the MACD suggesting that this upwards momentum is dying out. So I will be looking for price to reverse. It doesn't mean that it will, but I'll be looking for that to happen. So even if we break this high, okay, we may still, so we may get something like this. You have to forgive me, guys. Sometimes I'm no good on TradingView. We might even get that high broken and then start to reverse. Potentially. That's something that we could do. Okay. And then you may have a trend line drawn in. Okay. And you can look for the break of the trend line, connecting these lows together. So I've always found it best to kind of stay out of the market when it's FOMC day and let the dust settle. So I'm not looking to trade US dollar myself until the FOMC meeting minutes are out and the market settled down, and I'll look at the daily close of the dollar and some of the dollar pairs, and I'll make a decision. But that's just, you know, what I'm seeing potentially at the moment. This could be the end of this up move. Now, seasonally, the dollar has a bad month in July. That doesn't mean that's going to play out either. But seasonally, the dollar, US dollar, doesn't do that well. We are at resistance. We have the MACD saying or suggesting that this upwards momentum is dying out. So there's a lot of things saying that we could see some downside here. Okay, but very important, we don't just sell the US dollar. We don't just go to the US dollar pairs and start selling US dollar. We need to see that change in sentiment in the price first. Okay, so the euro dollar is the closest thing to the dollar index. It's basically, or it's almost the inverse. If we were to inverse the dollar index, look like that, then the euro dollar is similar. Okay, now I will draw out the support and resistance, what I'm seeing. Can you see? Where the dollar index was at the top. Okay, it's just turned it upside down on its head. We've got euro dollar almost at the bottom. Whereas the dollar index is basically at the top at resistance. This has got a little bit to go to hit that support area, but you can see the bounces here and the bounces here. So if we start to see that change in sentiment on the US dollar, okay, we start seeing sellers come in, then we can start looking at dollar pairs and maybe look at euro dollar and looking for that change of cycle. It's still making lower highs, lower lows. We want to start to see that change. We want to see that first impulse to the upside. We want to look for that first lower, higher low, and we're going to be looking to go long potentially, and it could come all the way up into 122. Okay, so that is a forecast, but we will see what happens. Okay, this could literally break out, and then we'll have to change our thinking. That's the lovely thing about trading, guys. You know, you can have your bias, and then sometimes the market will just do something completely different. But that's the plan. That's the plan for me. And if it plays out, you know, I know exactly what I'm going to do. Okay, so let's see what happens later. Like I say, 7 o'clock UK time, so that is about 8 hours from now. It's 11 o'clock in London at the moment. So I'm sticking out the markets. I'm staying out the markets. Okay, I'm going to wait for that dust to settle. It's hopefully going to give me a picture of what the next step is for the dollar index, and then I'm going to look for trading opportunities. So what do you do around news? Okay, do you trade around news? Do you stay out of the market? Make sure it's part of your trading plan, okay, and you stick to it. So from me, Nolan, and the rest of the team, have a great day. Be very careful trading today until those FOMC minutes are out. And yeah, I will see you tomorrow, and hopefully we'll have a better picture of what's happening on the dollar. I'll catch you tomorrow, guys. Bye for now.